welcome to HirePHD's Alternative Career Path Success Stories. I am Connie, your host today. Today we have Michael, who is a product development at Hydrogen in Motion. Welcome, Michael.
Hello.
Hi. So thank you, Michael, for taking your time today. Let's start by telling us about yourself.
Hey, so I'm Dr. Michael Whitwick. So I guess I started my career doing my master's and PhD at UBC in physics or experimental physics, doing a very niche scientific stuff about semiconductors. After that, I moved to Switzerland, working on EPFL, Coal Polytechnic Federal Lausanne. This was also a postdoc where I was doing 2D materials. Switzerland was a little bit boring, so I moved back to Vancouver and became an innovation consultant at Envisioning Labs, basically helping other companies innovate their products and develop their products. And that worked until I joined the company I'm with right now, Hydrogen in Motion, as a scientist. I'll get more on that there. Developing hydrogen storage materials. Then I switched to solar roads particularly, becoming a scientist at Solar Earth, and quickly elevating myself up to CTO until the company ran into trouble about 2 years ago. Then I went through a period of basically consulting and basically starting and killing companies of myself until I returned back to Hydrogen in Motion, developing products. Kind of after many years, they had evolved their technology from a lab scale material, to a pilot plant, and now I'm bringing their technology to commercialization.
Well, that sounds so exciting. That's the thing, like a common thing about in industry rather than in academia, you see the impact of your product to real life so
Yeah.
soon, like right away, right? So I'm always curious about product development, this kind of role. Can you tell us more about what it is? Like just the audience who doesn't know what it does.
Yeah. So I should say the previous companies have been small startups. So when I say product development, I almost mean anything to get the product across the finish line. Traditional product development roles in a more structured company will involve somewhere between design of the technology, basically designing the technology to be matching to the consumer or end user, depending on what they were. There is a development of actually validation. This is something that really distinguishes, say, product development between, say, R&D, where you have to do a lot of often very boring validation steps. So this might be a demonstration of your technology. This might be third-party lab tests. This is often in very painful part. This is often certification and compliance regulations. So you have to be very familiar with the compliance, especially in the area where we're developing new and novel materials. Then the third aspect is actually kind of the understanding what the market and customer needs. Ideally, you have multiple people focusing on design and the customer focus side. In my case, it's always been both, depending on the day.
Wow. So like what I can hear some excitement and then a little bit like, oh, this is a tough part of your job. Like, can you tell the audience about what you love about your job and then what might be more challenging that people might not like about your job?
Well, as you mentioned before, I love impact. Back when I was in a PhD doing papers, it always bothered me that it felt like I would do some work, write a paper, and it felt like shouting into a canyon. Like no one would look into it. But I like the fact that eventually my product will be out there being used by industry or people. It's also a little bit extra boost because I've always been working on clean tech. So these products actually will directly impact in a positive way global warming and climate change, right? Well,
Mm.
they'll help people. They'll bring people energy. They'll bring like positive change to the world. So they'll be, if I'm successful, my products will be hugely impactful, even though there's a huge amount of challenge to get there. But I like the fact that there's a chance to make a difference. Um, of course, like if you look at it, there's a million ways to kill a company. So um, most of the companies I've been, they've been essentially walking the valley of death. They often call it, where
Oh.
there's a gap between where you've developed your technology and now you're moving into commercialization, and you have to kind of get past that gap. And various factors prevent make it difficult to get funding during that period because you're not R&D and you're not commercialization. So it's hard to actually get funding. So you have to last long enough to get enough traction so your product can kind of get to the commercial version of funding um,
Mm.
to get out there, right?
Wow, that's a good point that I never thought about. It's like when that you in that funny gray zone where the research fund doesn't apply, commercial fund doesn't apply, you're stuck in the middle where,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. And also like what I got curious about the do you see the thinking patterns that you have in academia versus industry changes? I know it changes, but like in your world, what would you say is the biggest the changes that you observed?
This is an interesting question because it
Mm.
is literally one of the challenges I have in my role. Um, this is something more akin to a CTO role, but something I'm also taking a lot on at Hydrogen in Motion, where there needs to be someone that translates the technology to business and business to technology. Um, that's essentially what the role of, say, a CTO is, right? At the core level. Um, Now, to answer your question, I find that skill set, that idea of being able to understand what the business needs and what the technology needs, isn't something really seen in academia, um, or at least is very rare. So I've
Hmm.
always found like dealing with that disconnect, even at my PhD, at my scientist level, or even now, is kind of one of the biggest challenges is to make the business people understand what the scientists need and make the scientists understand what the business need.
Oh, I love that. I love that because I find that skill set super valuable that will position you. I'm talking to you, audience, that will position yourself very well. Is if you can be that person who can translate academia stuff with the industry, be it tech, be it business, be it politics or something else, that's a very valuable skill set, don't you say?
Yeah, and it's also even more about understanding who you are. So if you're very technical mindset and not a people person, you need to adjust your career to be the technical leader. Where if you kind of are coming with like a combined version, you should be trying to fill that gap, right? It's more about understanding what you are and understanding that other people are different and trying to find the path that's best for you.
Oh yeah, that thank you. That's a very good advice because I know a lot of like fresh out like you see somebody you want to be and you're trying to imitate like copy that person. It's just not working. I know like older people will tell you like oh just follow your passion. It's so true. Like don't fight against the tide. Um and then
Yeah.
like so yeah, Michael, please you have
Well,
your question.
it's a classic 80-20 rule.
Mm.
You just got to realize that like only like 20% of the device out there is actually relevant to you because everyone's different, everyone's there. So you have to understand like which device is not like just understand the person that okay, this person is doing successful, but they obviously have different values than me, so that's not going to
Mm.
work. So you
Mm.
need to figure out the advice and direction that you want to do because there's multiple ways to be successful, right?
Yeah, this is such valuable advice. Like talking about multiple ways to be successful. Michael, I know you said at the beginning you feel your career is linear. Like to me, looking in, it's like so not linear to me. there's so many paths that you could have chosen doing the way. Like you become CTO, that means like you could choose many jobs after that.
Yeah.
So why did you end up being product, not in any other area?
Essentially, I'm following the opportunities, but
Mm.
that's kind of misleading because I'm leaning towards product. So um,
So did you find product find you, or a mixture of the both kind of, right?
yeah, yeah, I've tried dabbling in other directions, but every time I'm looking in a different direction, I'm pulled towards the hardcore clean tech business develop startup side. Um, it's hard to say why I chose product because essentially I didn't choose product. I just took the right opportunity for me at the time, and that kind of led for me. And generally, that should be what people are gaming for. Like they shouldn't say like I'm going to be a professor or I'm going to work at like a product development. They should be scattering in opportunities in the direction they want to be, right? So looking at careers like say, well, I could apply for the professorship, but professorships are say like low probability to get because there's so much competition. But I also like uh, a career in teaching, or I also like a career in just I don't know, just business. So maybe I'll seek out spend my time looking into this as well, or divide my time between these three.
Really like that. It's especially right now, it's a employer's market, right? So
Yeah,
some we see company falling over, laying off all everywhere.
yeah,
Having Michael like you having so many more skill set and option,
yeah,
it's more secure, right? Like,
yeah. And if I recall, like this is more for people coming from early academia, so like
mm,
young graduates and the such, and that's actually a tough position because you do seem very specialized. Um, so you'll have very specific knowledge on one topic that shows up very well on a resume or LinkedIn. But generally, what I found during that time was actually displaying my other skills that didn't really show up very well, right? So like leadership skills that there's nothing really to prove it because there's no actual outcome. It's just what you're doing day to day. So
mm. Oh yeah, I really want to dig a little bit deeper on what you're saying because that's a lot of things that really got us a job. That is definitely the soft skill. Other thing that got me the job, I will never get a job in BC or anywhere about C elegance, basing C elegance in alcohol. That was my research. Yeah,
yeah,
so right, so you were touching about the specialized skills that's hard to really find a fit versus marketing your soft skills, like leadership skills. When
well,
you interview people, when you're hiring people, how do you judge is their soft skill good enough or so on?
I actually don't even look at the technical skills anymore because like let's say like I'm very specific fields like if they have the technical skills that will prove out like in a day like they'll show that very quickly, right? So when I'm interviewing someone, and actually, I'm correct. I was recently was interviewing some co-op students. I look for kind of attitude. Like, are they excited about this? Can they learn fast? Like I mentioned, we're in a fast-moving startup company. Can they actually handle that environment? Is that the right environment for them? Like, because I don't want to get someone that loves structure and throw them into this environment because they'll flounder. Um, so I mostly look for like soft skills and like and kind of attitude. Like, are they excited about this product? Because someone,
Mm,
uh, honestly, like I'm generally looking at very skilled people to begin with. So like they're they're like co-op students or they're graduates or they have a PhD. So like they often have like lots of experience in techno skills and intelligence. So really, I'm just looking to see if they have the right attitude because a smart person will learn. A skilled person will adjust fast if they have the motivation. Um, and and honestly, like because we're kind of fast moving, their job at the day one is probably going to be different to job at like year one, just because things will evolve and the needs will change. So we need someone to change.
Oh yeah, that's wow. That's very good advice. Take notes, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm piggyback on that. Is any advice on resume now the ChatGPT explosion? I heard the HR if they want to do the screening is way harder. How do you feel about resume right now? And then how do you screen as
Well, that's a difficult question because this came,
well?
like I mentioned, this came off looking at co-op students, and they have the boringest resumes because it's all courses and stuff, and it's almost exactly the same. So because like they don't have experience, but I usually skim no material. I'm looking for keywords essentially. I'm looking for something that looks like you will solve this problem that I have today or this month, right? So looking for attitude, I might start from the back and like say, okay, like what else can you do? Like, can you show me that you can think on your feet? But honestly, I don't put much value in resumes. It's just a quick fix.
You're not alone. I'm
Mm,
asking you is kind of validating as well. We're saying
it,
that
it,
it takes on average 7 seconds for the recruiter to see the resume, right? Because there's so
well,
many. Right?
it's just that if you put in enough effort, you can
Mm.
make a resume looking really good, and it doesn't necessarily reflect how you do it, right? Because if you put in a resume, you can make your resume look very fancy, and it doesn't matter if you're coming with a lot of skill or not a lot of skill. It's gonna look the end product's gonna look the same with a little bit of effort, right?
Mm.
And this is especially true with AI, where you can just make something look polished or spell check and do all the other things, but you still have to put the effort into it because a bad resume will just kick you out of it, right?
Yeah, it's like you don't even get the chance to interview. If everybody else's are very pretty polished and you're like, you can't even format. Seriously, I do pick on the spaces, yeah, because my eyes see the spaces and the dots and stuff, and then if I see it gives me the impression of sloppy if
Yeah,
those are not fixed, right? Yeah.
yeah. Though you should actually make sure that everything on your resume you can back up, right? So
Mm.
or else you'll just be annoying.
Yeah, yeah, and then interviewers pick up really fast, right? We I know right away when people like you don't know the answer to stuff. Yeah.
Actually, it's even more important to be solid because like one of the things I'll do is if I have a candidate and they're not the right fit, but they're still a good candidate, I will often let people like know that hey, I found this candidate, right? So I know like some people in HR, so like pass them along like hey, there's this really good person because they need to find really good people, and they ask them like hey, do you have a use for them? So
Oh yeah, totally agree. It's like I met some of the candidates. I wish I could hire you, but I don't need your skill set, right? That type of person. I'll totally like tell other people
yeah,
to hire the person. Cool.
yeah.
Oh. Shifting the gear a little bit, I want to talk more about you. So how did you get your first job? Like, I feel like the first step outside of academia is the toughest. Like, what was your story?
Well, my first job was I guess postdoctoral scientist in Switzerland. And that particular one, I just had the right skill set. So there was the resume that had exactly the niche skills that they needed, and so that was a good fit. Um, though for my first real job, like the job like non-academic job, I would say networking. Um, I was essentially consulting, doing work, and I would just go out and talk to people. And eventually, I just met the right people, and we started talking, and I was brought on as a scientist, and actually that's most of the jobs I actually have landed have been done through networking.
Can you tell us more about how you network?
It depends. Like I'll say the best version of networking. I'm just curious about a company or something and go out and find out information about them. So when I was looking for a job, I just started wanting to find more information about the companies I like, right? And that's actually better because you're actually gaining some value from that. And generally, the people that you're talking to are gaining some value to that too, because they like to talk to new people and know new people. And you never know when you have a good connection or a future connection. So you're kind of building your networking. The worst one is going to like some event that I'm not interested in and having to talk to people that just on a subject I'm not interested in. Like in Vancouver, this is often some sort of programmer where I'm just not interested in the field. I don't really care if you're a back end developer or anything like that. It's not interesting to me, but I meet them all the time. It's like, yeah, we have nothing in common. Let's move on. But now that I guess I'm later in my career, it's more just about going to some place and relaxing with people that I kind of like and they understand the kind of feel. So not really. I've gotten sick of going to various talks and other things. I just want to go there and relax and have a drink with people that are great.
Yeah. And often I find those relationships turn out to be the one that's really helped me in the future. It was like I just like this person and then
Yeah,
about just become really good friends and then that's my connection to my new jobs.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. And
And now thinking back, I even have people like that that I keep trying to hire back on. Like, hey, come join my company. Like,
see, like vice versa. I'm like, there's some friends, like you said, I have some friends like when I become this position, I will come back and then harass you to come work for me. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because you want to build yourself a good team, right?
Mm.
And you know there's some people that are just like brilliant and super skilled. It's like and you know like I
They
know
get
we're in a
the
different
work
field.
done,
I know we're
reliable.
I
Yeah.
know we're in a different field and like we have
Mm.
nothing in common career wise, but I still want to figure out a way to work for you or work with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and those kind of people. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
totally. So be that person.
yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, our audience are thinking about consulting. So you said you went into consulting. What do you think that's needed for folks who are thinking about going to consulting? What do they need to do beforehand to prepare themselves?
Yeah, so when I say consulting, honestly, I'm not a very good consultant because I don't do the one thing you need to be a successful consultant is constantly hustle, constantly
Oh,
chase clients. I'm mostly this connecting to my network in a period where people have stuff they need to get done, either business or a scientist. And helping essentially I'm in a period where I'm helping my friends and family out, or my network out. And like when I was trying it, honestly, I could say like I'm good at getting in there and solving problems, but in terms of being a consultant, I know myself. I just don't have the interest or drive to constantly being hustling. So, um, but for like a young PhD or like if you're a PhD, just go talk to people and ask them like, hey, do you need anything done? Like, you need some support. Um, usually the relationship will kind of dictate things. Like if you're talking, let's say you're going out there and you're doing an informational interview, or you're talking to a friend or colleague in industry. Um, as long as you're kind of informing them of what you can do, they're probably going to want a problem solved, right? So if you can kind of indicate that the problem will solve, that relationship will go naturally. Um, but if you wanted to do it earnestly, you'd really have to be out there and putting yourself to find those relationships where that natural integration that I can solve this problem comes out.
Mm.
It probably depends on what you're specifically studying.
Mm.
I would say, right? Whether there's a lot of need for this thing or there's not.
I'm so glad that you said that because I was doing I am still doing consulting on the side, and I'm basically at the same boat as you were, and I feel such a failure, but I don't feel like that anymore after talking to you. It's like I just don't like to chase people for stuff. Like if
Yeah,
it happens to be my network starting to grow and they know what I can do and they just come to me and say, "Hey, we have a gig for you. Do you want it?" I don't ask for anything.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
and and then that's more where I want that in my career anyhow.
mm.
Because like I mentioned before, I like the impact of a product. Because I tend to be all in into a problem, and that's not something consulting really does for me.
So that kind of tying to my next question quite well. It's about the career trajectory from your position now and on. Like, what is a career growth look like, or like what you want to do after?
Well, right now I'm at the early stage of commercialization of the company, so I want to bring that to fruition to be a successful company. I would grow with the company naturally, so that would be put maybe in some essentially management or upper management position to support the growth of the company. I can see myself as the company becomes more stable and more of a cash cow, drawing back and maybe starting my own company or joining another exciting venture because I do like uh, the beginning. I do like the beginning stage. Like, unfortunately, I like to walk the valley of death, so to speak, and come to accept that. Right now, I'm bringing things forward, and I could see myself in many different paths depending on how things go. But
Mm.
I guess my ideal thing is become an angel investor. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
that that involves being really successful. So we'll see.
yeah. Wow. That's so cool. I didn't meet a lot of people who are more like really love startup, who are serial startup person. Like my previous CEO, he was like that. But like, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs who want to do startup? Like, why do you love it? Yeah, any advice for them?
Like I said, it's high risk, high reward situation. Um, I tend to personally, I tend to be able to manage risks internally very well. So I think that's kind of inures me from a lot of the chaos or the accidental dread that you actually get from actually running a company, or even being involved in the company where like things are not stable. I actually don't view any company to be stable, to be honest. Like like even now with the economy being like crazy, that's kind of showing that like yeah, like something like this could happen. So you had to be ready for risk itself. Now for advice, there's no really good advice for like say if you want to found your own company, you almost just have to be a little bit driven or insane to get past the kind of existential dread. Um, because a interval per person, it's hard math because you're dealing with a lot of risk,
Mm.
um, and that can really weigh you down day to day. So because like even a good idea, like there's lots of ways that a good idea can go down, but you just have to essentially do it. Um, Maybe try some cautious, get some validation to assess things. Like I don't really have this up on my LinkedIn, but I was in a period where I was trying some new company and new ideas after my solar company went under, or I guess it's not under. It's kind of in a different state, but in that case. I was doing kind of validation, but I guess I was too critical because I kept killing my product ideas. Where I do this kind of like a dog washing idea. It's like, oh no, people aren't going to like that. Like that's actually a bad idea, and then moving on to the next idea.
Isn't it sometimes like kill it early before before you spend too much money and it's better?
I think so, right? Especially when you're coming from clean tech, where it's like go big or go home.
So, like, how did you get into product development? Like, I'm in projects, so product, and then now my closest partner is in product, so it's always I'm getting really curious about people who ended up being in product. Did you learn it somewhere? How do you learn it? Where did the skill set come from? Hmm.
I was just saying it kind of was a natural evolution from my time at Solar, where I started there as a full scientist developing solar cell technology. But being a small company, I just started taking on roles of product development support there. So developing a plan for the solar cell, how they're going to get to market, um, supporting the company's other products, and eventually I moved up to a management position, and then I moved to the CTO role. Like I said, because the company was smaller and I was leading, I just learned on the job. It's not that different from say like doing R&D. It's just more about setting the end goals a bit broader. It's more customer facing and less say like discovery facing, where you're applying the scientific method to doing market research or applying the scientific method or scientific rigor to driving the product through certification, which is uh, with solar is actually kind of a big headache.
It's interesting how you manage talking about is there's the phrase you said is not much different than doing PhD. But I find that many of my job I could find a big component of it. It's like I've done it before in PhD. Like, so how did you
Yeah,
find your PhD help you with your career journey along the way?
generally for PhD, aside from the specific discipline, you should be learning how to learn. Like for my PhD, I wasn't thinking about this at the time, but you learned it's a huge project. So you learned how to do project management. Uh, I had my particular cheat sheet had a team, so you kind of had to learn like teamwork and like leadership skills from that. Um, though I would say like during my PhD, a lot of the things I learned the hard way before going forward. But you still learn these things, right? And particularly like during like a PhD, like you're solving huge problems, so you learn how to solve huge problems, which translates very easily into other disciplines.
That you were just recall helping me remember that yeah, team management, leadership, and then I was felt when people say, "Oh, you're a great manager." I'm like, "Oh, you should know me when I first become a manager when I was in masters, right?" So, but I made so many mistakes and honing my skill during my graduate school that
Yeah,
when I'm actually working, I'm already polished.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, any final advice for our audience from you?
Um, I would say like towards like when you're doing your PhD or even like early career, just get out there, talk to people, take courses that you're interested in, um, and kind of expand your horizon beyond your lab or office.
Mm, love it. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Michael, for sharing your story with words of wisdom. It's like if you folks like today's episode, please support us by clicking like and subscribe down below. We'll see you next time. Thank you again, Michael.
all right.
Bye.